Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel and another installment of Gangsta Granny. So when we left off, young Ben was plotting plots, and he has shown himself to be quite a resourceful and clever boy. Yet, there has been a wrench thrown in the works. Something has come up that Ben forgot about, and that is the under 12 dancing championships. So let's find out how Ben, our brilliant dancer, does in those championships. All right, let's continue on. Chapter 21 is called A Tap Shoe. Ben sat silently in the back of the little brown car in his love bomb outfit. "I hope you didn't forget about the competition, Ben," said Mum as she fixed her makeup in the passenger seat, her lipstick accidentally scrawling across her face as they went round a corner. "No, of course not, Mum." "Don't worry, son," continued Dad as he proudly drove his son to dance competition Immortality. "You've done so much training up in your bedroom, I know you'll get top marks from all the judges. Straight 10s. "What about Granny? Won't she be expecting me?" said Ben anxiously. Tonight was supposed to be the night they stole the crown jewels, but instead he was on his way to take part in a dance competition, despite never having danced a step in his life. For the last 2 weeks, he had avoided thinking about the dance competition, but now the time had come. It was really going to happen. He was going to have to dance a solo number, which he hadn't prepared, in front of an entire theater full of people. "Oh, don't worry about Granny," said Mom. "She doesn't know what the day it is." She laughed as the car stopped suddenly at a red light and mascara splattered over her forehead. They arrived at the town hall. Ben saw a rushing river of multicolored lycra making its way into the building. If anyone had found out he'd entered, he would never live this down. The bullies would have all the ammunition they would ever need to make his life heck forever. And what's more, he hadn't rehearsed his dance, not even once. He didn't have a clue what he was going to do on stage. And this was a competition to find the best junior dancers in the local area. There was a prize for the best couple, best solo female, and best solo male. If you won here, you would get the chance to compete for your county, and if you won there, for your country. This was the first step on the road to international dance superstardom. And the host for the evening was none other than the Strictly Stars dancing heartthrob and his mom's favorite, Flavio Flavioli. "It's wonderful to see so many beautiful ladies here tonight," he purred in his Italian accent. Flavio looked even more shining in real life. His hair was slicked back, his teeth were dazzlingly white, and his outfit was as tight as cling film. "Now, are we all ready to rumba?" The crowd all screamed, "Yes!" "Flavio can't hear you. I said, are you ready to rumba?" "Yes!" They all screamed again, a little louder than before. Ben was listening nervously backstage. He heard one woman's voice screech, "I love you, Flavio!" It sounded suspiciously like his mom. Ben looked around the dressing room. It might as well have been a convention of the most annoying children in the world. They looked so unbearingly precocious, adorned in these ridiculously garish lycra outfits, smeared in fake tan and with pearly white teeth so bright they could be seen from outer space. Ben looked anxiously at his watch, knowing he was going to be terribly late to meet his granny. He waited and waited as the over-made-up, quick-stepped, jived, waltzed, Viennese waltzed, tangoed, foxtrotted, and cha-cha-cha'd. Finally, Ben's turn came. He stood in the wings as Flavio announced him. "Now it's time for a local boy who is going to delight us all tonight with a solo piece. Welcome, Ben." Flavio glided off the stage as Ben plodded on, his lycra love bomb outfit riding uncomfortably up his bottom. Ben stood alone in the middle of the dance floor, a spotlight shone on him. The music started up. He was praying for some kind of escape from all this. He would have been happy with anything at all, including a fire alarm, an earthquake, World War III, another ice age, a deadly swarm of killer bees, a meteor from outer space hitting the Earth and spinning it off its axis, a tidal wave, Flavio Flavioli being attacked by hundreds of flesh-eating zombies, a hurricane or tornado. Ben didn't really know the difference, but either would do. Ben being abducted by aliens and not returned to the Earth for 1,000 years. Dinosaurs returning to the Earth through some kind of time-space portal and smashing through the roof, devouring everyone inside. A volcano erupting, though annoyingly, there didn't seem to be any volcanoes nearby. An attack of giant slugs, even an attack of medium-sized slugs would do. Ben wasn't fussy. Any of the above would have sufficed. The music played for a while and Ben realized he hadn't moved his body yet. He looked over at his parents, who beamed with pride seeing their only child center stage at last. He looked to the wings where the ever-smiling Flavio was giving him an encouraging grin. Please make the ground open up now. It didn't. There was no choice but to do something, anything. Ben started moving his legs, then his arms, then his head. None of these parts of his body moved in time or sequence, and for the next 5 minutes, he threw his body around the dance floor in a style that can only be called unforgettable. As much as you might want to forget it, you can't. Ben tried to jump at the end just as the music stopped, and he fell to the floor with a thud. There was silence. Deafening silence. Then Ben could hear the sound of one pair of hands clapping. He looked up. It was his mom. Then another pair of hands joined in. It was his dad. For a few seconds, he thought it might be one of those moments you see in a film where the underdog triumphs against all odds, that soon everyone in the hall would be on their feet cheering and applauding this local boy who had at last made his loved ones proud and at the same time reinvented dancing forever. The end. Well, no. That's not what happened. After a few moments, his parents felt embarrassed to be the only people applauding and stopped. Flavio returned for the stage. Well, that was... For the first time, the Italian heartthrob seemed lost for words. Judges, can we have your scores for Ben, please? 0, said the first. 0. 0. Only one more judge to go. Could Ben make it 4 zeros? But the final judge must have felt sorry for the sweaty little boy in front of her who had shamed his family for generations with his epic display of talentlessness. She shuffled her scoring paddles under the desk. 1, she announced. There were loud boos and jeers from the audience, so she corrected her score. I'm sorry, I mean 0, she said, holding up her original choice of paddle. Slightly disappointing scores from the judges there, said Flavio, still trying hard to smile. But young Ben, all is not lost. As the only boy who entered the solo male category tonight, you are therefore the winner. May I present you with this solid plastic statuette? Flavio picked up a cheap-looking trophy of a dancing boy and presented it to Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a round of applause for Ben. There was silence again. Even Mom and Dad didn't dare to clap. Then boos started, then jeers and catcalls, shouts of shame on you, no, and fix. Flavio's perfect smile began to crack. He leaned down to Ben and whispered in his ear, you better get out of here before you get lynched. At that exact moment, a tap shoe was thrown from the back of the audience. It flew at speed through the air. It was probably aimed at Ben, but instead it hit Flavio, right between the eyes. And he fell to the ground, unconscious. Time to make my excuses and leave, thought Ben. Chapter 22, Lycra Lynch Mob. An angry mob of ballroom dancing enthusiasts chased the little brown car down the street. Looking out of the back window, Ben thought this would perhaps be the only time in history a lynch mob was dressed entirely in Lycra. Dad put his foot down on the accelerator. Vroom! And they turned a corner and lost them. Thank goodness I was there to give Flavio the kiss of his life, said Mom from the seat. He was just unconscious. He hadn't stopped breathing, Mom, said Ben from the back. You can't be too careful, said Mom, reapplying her lipstick. Most of it was now smeared over Flavio's face and neck. Your performance was, in a word, dreadful and embarrassing, pronounced Dad. That's 2 words, corrected Ben with a chuckle. 3 if you count the and. Don't get funny with me, young lads, snapped Dad. This is no laughing matter. I was ashamed of you. Ashamed. Yes, ashamed, grumbled Mom in agreement. Ben felt like he would give anything to disappear. He would give all of his past and all of his future just so he didn't have to be sitting in the backseat of his Mom and Dad's car right now. I'm sorry, Mom, said Ben. I want to make you proud. I really do. It was true. Making his parents ashamed, well, that was the absolute last thing he wanted, however stupid he thought they were sometimes. Well, you have a funny way of showing it, said Mom. I just don't like dancing, that's all. That's not the point. Your mother spent hours making your costume, said Ben. It's strange how parents always refer to each other as mother or father rather than Mom and Dad when you are in trouble. You made no effort up there on the stage whatsoever, Dad continued. I don't think you even rehearsed once, not once. Me and your mother work night and day to give you the opportunities we never had, and this is how you treat us. With contempt, said Mom. Contempt, echoed Dad. A single tear ran down Ben's cheek. He caught it with his tongue. It tasted bitter. The 3 sat in silence as the car rumbled home. No words were spoken as they got out of the car and went into the house. As soon as Dad opened the front door, Ben bounded up to his room and slammed the door. He sat on his bed, still in his love bomb outfit. Ben had never felt more alone. He was hours late to meet Granny. Not only had he let down his mom and dad, he had let down the one person he had grown to love more than anyone, his Granny. They were never going to steal the crown jewels now. Just at that moment, there was a quiet tap on his window. It was Granny. Dressed in her scuba diving gear, the old lady had climbed a ladder to reach her grandson's bedroom window. "Let me in," she mouthed theatrically. Ben couldn't help but smile. He opened the window and hauled the old lady inside, like a fisherman might haul a particularly big fish onto his boat. "You are very late," admonished Granny as Ben helped her over to the bed. "I know, I'm sorry," said Ben. "We said 7 o'clock. It's 10:30. The sleeping tonic I gave the guards at the tower will be wearing off soon." "I'm sorry, it's a long story," said Ben. Granny sat on Ben's bed and looked him up and down. "And why are you dressed like a demented Valentine's Day card?" she demanded. "As I said, it's a long story." It was a bit rich for Granny to criticize what he had on, considering she was dressed in a wetsuit and scuba diving mask, but there wasn't time to get into that now. "Quick, boy, put on this wetsuit and follow me down the ladder. I'll start up the mobility scooter." "Are we really going to steal the crown jewels, Granny?" "Well, we are going to have a go," said the old lady with a smile. Chapter 23, Caught by the Fuzz. They whirred through the town, Granny driving, Ben clinging on behind her, both in wetsuits and diving masks, with Granny's handbag wrapped in miles of cling film sitting in the basket at the front. Granny spotted Raj closing up his newsagent's shop. "Hello, Raj dear. Don't forget to save me some Murray mints for Monday," she shouted. Raj looked at the two of them, open-mouthed, in shock. "I don't know what's got into him. He's normally so chatty." It was a long way to London, especially on a motorized scooter with a top speed of 3 miles an hour, with 2 passengers. After a while, Ben noticed the roads getting wider and wider, 2 lanes, then 3 lanes. "Bums, we're on the motorway!" shouted Ben from the back as 10-ton lorries whooshed past, nearly wrenching the scooter off the road with the force of their slipstream. "You know, you really shouldn't swear, young men," said Granny. "Now I'm going to step on it, so hold on tight." A moment later, a particularly big petrol tanker thundered by inches from their heads, beeping its horn. "Big hairy bums," said Granny. "Granny," said Ben, shocked. "Whoops, that one just slipped out," said Granny. "Grown-ups never lead by example." "I'm sorry, Granny, but I'm not sure this thing is built for a motorway," said Ben. Ben could feel the wheels of the scooter lift off the road for a second as the slipstream dragged it in the lorry's wake. "I'll take the next exit," said Granny, but before she could, flashing blue lights began to spin behind them. "Oh no, it's the Fuzz! Let's see if I can outrun them." She slammed her foot on the accelerator, and the scooter leapt from 3 miles per hour to 3.5 miles per hour. The police car drove alongside them, and the officer inside gestured angrily for them to pull over. "Granny, you better pull over," said Ben. "We're done for." "Let me handle this, my boy." Granny stopped the mobility scooter on the hard shoulder as the police car parked in front of them, blocking any chance of escape. It was a big car and dwarfed the scooter like a very tall person dwarfs, well, a dwarf. "Is this your vehicle, madam?" said the police officer. He was fat and had a small mustache, which made his fat face look even fatter. He also had a smug expression on his face that suggested telling people off was his favorite thing in the world. Or maybe his second favorite, after donuts. His name tag said that he was called PC Fudge. "Is there a problem, officer?" said Granny innocently, her diving mask a little steamed up from all the excitement. "Yes, there is a problem. The use of motorized mobility scooters on motorways is strictly prohibited," said the officer in a patronizing tone. Other modes of transport not permitted on the motorway are skateboard, canoe, roller skates, donkey, shopping trolley, unicycle, sledge, rickshaw, camel, magic carpet, comedy ostrich. "Well, thank you so much for pointing that out, officer. We'll remember that for next time. Now, if you'll excuse us, we are running a little late." "Goodbye," said Granny cheerily as she restarted the mobility scooter. "Have you been drinking, madam?" "I had some cabbage soup before I came out. Alcohol, I mean," he sighed. "I had a brandy liqueur chocolate on Tuesday night. Does that count?" Ben couldn't help but chuckle. PC Fudge's eyes narrowed. "Then would you care to explain why you are dressed in scuba diving gear with your handbag wrapped in cling film?" This was going to take some explaining. Because Granny was stumbling over her words. They were done for. "Because we are from the Cling Film Appreciation Society," said Ben with authority. "I have never heard of that," said PC Fudge dismissively. We are very new, said Ben. Just 2 members so far, added Granny, continuing the lie, and we like to keep the society low-key, so we have our meetings underwater, hence the wetsuits. The policeman looked utterly baffled. Granny didn't stop talking, apparently in the hope that she might baffle him further. Now, if you'll excuse us, we are in a hurry. We have to get to London for an important meeting with the Bubble Wrap Appreciation Society. We are thinking of merging the 2 organizations. PC Fudge was all but lost for words. How many members have they got? Just 1, said Granny, but if we join forces, we can save money on tea bags and photocopying and paper clips and the like. Goodbye. Granny put her foot down on the accelerator and the mobility scooter lurched off. Stop right there, said PC Fudge, holding his podgy hand straight out in front of him. Ben froze in terror. He wasn't even 12 yet, and he was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. PC Fudge leaned over and put his face next to Granny's. I'll give you a lift. And that is the end of our chapters for the week. So Ben kind of was pretty bad at that dance competition, if I must say. His parents are really disappointed, but Granny arrived to take him off to steal the crown jewels. Inshallah, he has a win for the night with PC Fudge, driving him to where they need to go, to their meeting with the Cling Wrap Appreciation Society, whatever that is. So let me know what you think in the comments down below of this section of the book, and what do you think is going to happen next with an escort who is a police officer? I have no idea. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Behave yourself, do your homework, and don't forget to smile at somebody today. Bye, guys.